Everyone, thank you again for tuning in to another episode of the Millionaire Network Marketer podcast. Today, I'm super excited because we have Tyson Zahner with us, and he has been in the entrepreneur space since he was 17 years old. So he has learned some different things of what to do and what not to do, and we're going to be picking his brain today. So we avoid some of the pitfalls and also just apply some of the things that are really working to create this multiple six-figure earner. So welcome.
Thank you, Lisa. It's my pleasure to be here. I'm super excited to meet you and to give some tips to your audience today.
Awesome. Can you introduce yourself to us and tell us a little bit about your story?
Yeah, absolutely. So as Lisa said, my name is Tyson Zahner. I am, let's see, gosh, I got my start, as she said, back when I was 17 years old. I started my first kind of traditional business. Back then it was a little shaved ice truck that I drove around town selling snow cones to the neighbor kids during the summer. And I actually still own that business today, but we've got some physical locations. I don't drive around in a truck anymore. And being a young entrepreneur, I was kind of the target of a lot of network marketers who often look for high quality individuals. They say, wow, here's somebody who is entrepreneurial minded, they're business minded. Maybe they would be interested in network marketing. And so I've kind of been in and out of the network marketing space for, 18 years now. I think I was introduced to my first company when I was 17. But interestingly, building that type of business was very different from my I don't really want to call it a brick and mortar business because it was a van business, drove my little van around, but it was different because with that, it was more of an impulse buy. People didn't really in that shaved ice business didn't have to feel like they knew me or like they trusted me. I wasn't asking them to go into business with me, I guess. I was simply asking them, hey, do you want some, delicious shaved ice for $3? It was an impulse buy. It was a simple decision. Yes or no, I don't want this product. And I tried to approach my network marketing business kind of the same way, like, hey, I've got this great opportunity. You should so check it out. And it didn't work the same. And for years, I couldn't figure out why. I was like, why can I go to people with, this cup of cherry shaved ice and they'll just buy it? And I can't go to somebody and draw circles on a napkin and I got so much more resistance. And why was that? So, I was fast forward, I'd been in and out. I quit that network marketing company, went to college and I got a degree, got a traditional job, kept doing my shaved ice thing. And I was in and out. I've always been kind of drawn to network marketing for the idea of residual income. And then, I got recruited into a couple of different MLMs, never really able to make them work. And it wasn't until I joined my third company that I was like, all right, something's got to give. I can't keep failing with the same methods over and over. So I kind of went to see is there a way to do this online? That was back in, 2013. And as they say, the rest is history. Once I started learning how to brand myself and how to attract people to me, I started building, I enrolled, 1,000 people in about a year's time into one of those network marketing businesses.
That's phenomenal.
Yeah, I went on to be a 3-time top earner inside of an affiliate program. And then I also have another brick and mortar photography studio that I run. And now I've got my own coaching and training company. So, kind of got my hands in a lot of things. I kind of understand marketing from a lot of different angles because I understand it from the impulse buy with a product like shaved ice. I understand it from a service industry with my photography business. I understand it from an affiliate, perspective. I understand it from a network marketing perspective as well. And so I think that's one of the reasons why a lot of my students are drawn to me is because of that kind of wide range of knowledge.
I think that does give you such a wide range of knowledge in sales. And the common denominator, though, would probably be relationship building, yeah?
Yeah, with the exception of, I always tell people that, I believe that as a depending on your business, as a network marketer, relationship building is key. It is number one, in my opinion. but like I said, like it depends on your product. I was scrolling through my Facebook news feed the other day, and there was I've got it laying around here somewhere. Actually, it was a new selfie stick, and it was like a motorized selfie stick that would follow your face around. So if it stabilized the phone. I didn't have to trust the person in order to buy that. It
Right.
was they demonstrated the product in a quick video in the news feed, and it was I was like, oh, that looks cool. It looks like something I would use. It was an impulse buy. I didn't feel like I had to know or trust the creator of that product in order to buy it. So it depends. It depends on the nature of your business. It depends on the nature of your product. But I would say this, as a general rule, the more commitment you're asking of someone,
Mhm.
the more relationship building I think is necessary for you to do in order for them to feel like they can, they're comfortable either hiring you or buying from you or going into business with you.
Yeah, and that's actually before the pitch. Like you have to have that length of time where you're just giving value and you're not asking for anything to build that know, like, and trust factor that they are like, here's my credit card.
Right. Agreed. Completely.
So my audience is going to kill me if I don't ask you, how did you personally sponsor 1,000 people in a year, in the fact that you failed at, quote unquote, failed at, a couple other companies. And I'm in that arena as well. I was with 2 other companies prior to the company that I'm with now, and it just wasn't the right circumstances. So I wasn't able to succeed. And now it turns into a different story once you're partnered with the right company. You get the knowledge, the personal development that you need. So
Right.
you obviously, got that in 2013.
Yeah, absolutely.
What did
So,
you do different?
Um, well, the number one thing that I did was I started building my personal brand, getting people to know, like, and trust me, to be familiar with me and my face and my voice and my brand and my knowledge and my education. So, well, let's back up. Before I could share any knowledge or education, I had to first obtain that. And so the first thing I did was I started investing in me. I started investing in my knowledge and my skills and my education. I started implementing what I was doing. And then I started sharing what I was learning with others. And I never, because I wasn't, the guru back then. I'd created some success in other businesses, but certainly not in the online space. So I didn't go out and try to position myself as being something I wasn't. I simply went out, and this is what I tell people who are like, well, Tyson, it must be easy for you to go out now today and say, join me. I've had this result and this result and this result.
Right.
And what I tell people is I didn't start with that message because I couldn't. I mean, unless I was going to lie, and I didn't want to do that. So I started with really a simple 3-step process that I call the S3 formula: study, share, suggest. So what I did was I went out, I studied, I obtained some knowledge, I shared what I was learning. And so I did that by saying, hey guys, I was reading this great book today by Tony Robbins, and I found a great tip on how to achieve X, Y, and Z result. If you want to achieve that result in your life or in your business, check it out. I think this is going to be really helpful. So I didn't take credit for the knowledge. I attributed it to Tony Robbins or to some course, Tim Irway, or some course that I was going through, where I said, hey, I just learned this really great tip. I think it'll help you. Here's the tip. I talked a little bit about it. I taught it in my own way so that it branded me. And then I gave a suggestion. What should they do next? And almost always that suggestion, this is one of the biggest mistakes I see people making online, is it was a small first step. I see people, the suggestion they want is too much too soon. And that's one of the reasons I was able to sell shaved ice easily. Just going down the street to total strangers was $3. That's not a big commitment. But when we're asking somebody, hey, let's go into business together. Hey, give me several $100s to start your own business. We're asking for too much too soon, especially in a world where people are more skeptical today than they've ever been before. And so I always tell people, ask for the suggestion that you give should be a reasonable first step. It should be a small first step. And so for me, it was, hey, if you'd like to learn more, put in your name and email address and I'll send you a free X, Y, and Z. Or put in your name and email address to attend a free web class, and I would put them on a webinar. And then I would build a relationship further before I would ask for money from them. And the analogy I like to give to people, I've been teaching this for years, is the idea of a Goodwill bank account. This is true almost in all relationships. I remember growing up with my mom and dad. My dad every year would want to go to Canada to go pike fishing. He loved to fish, and he'd love to go up there every year and fish for pike. And my mom, it was like a week and a half trips that he was going to be gone from the family. And I remember she just would get so upset. So I remember the weeks leading up to that trip, my dad would be helping out a lot more around the house. He would be doing the laundry. He was putting Goodwill credits into my mom's Goodwill bank account so that when he asked for something he wanted, he had enough balance in that Goodwill account to withdraw, right? So that his check didn't bounce, metaphorically speaking. And that was really kind of the approach that I took online. I was like, let me just start giving value. Let me start putting in a bunch of goodwill into my prospects' accounts without asking for anything in return. And then when it was time for me to ask for the sale, they didn't hate me for it, because I had already built up enough credit into that Goodwill bank account to be able to cash that check.
Mm-hmm. So essentially, you learned out loud. So you were learning it, and then it was just out loud in front of people. You're like, hey, I'm not the guru yet. And that's what stops a lot of people, is they're like, I'm not the expert, you know?
Yeah. In a lot of ways I was, I would simply learn something. And then I like the way you said it, learning out loud. I was sharing it out loud with other people, what it was that I was learning. And I would just give credit back to the source. And then for me, I think the other thing that, because I said I had enrolled 1,000 people, and so people are probably wondering like the tactical part of that.
Right.
In this particular opportunity, they had a very low commitment offer on the product that I could offer to people. So it happened to be it wasn't a very high priced product. It was like $30 a month for the product. Mm-hmm. And then they had a free trial for like 7 days or something. So my secret was I led with goodwill, with value, with my personal knowledge and my personal brand to get people interested in buying from me specifically. And then my call to action was a small first step, because this particular company had a free 7-day trial. I was able to say, hey guys, if you like this, I think you might like this particular product. Check it out. They've got a free 7-day trial. And after that, it's $30 a month. If you don't like it after 7 days, cancel, and there's no commitment. So it was really easy for me to get those sales because, and once people tried it, and I guess there's another underlying idea there is, in any business, part of what we're trying to do in marketing is simply get somebody to take the first step and try what it is that we're offering. So maybe your company doesn't if you're listening to this and your company doesn't have a free trial, right? Well, what can you do with your product that can make it a bit more of a small commitment? For example, I've heard a great example. Lisa Grossman teaches, like, go out with your product. And if you're going to go to your warm market, if you're going to go to your family, instead of being like, hey, grandma, I just started a business and you should start one too, which is like weird, right? Instead of doing that, go to grandma and just be like, grandma, look, I started a new business. I'm not going to, and be upfront with her, because probably most of your family is going to think, oh, it's multi-level it's network marketing. Oh, he's going to try and recruit me. So when they're in their mind thinking, oh, he or she's going to try and recruit me into this thing, if you're in network marketing, you flip the switch by upfront saying, it's a network marketing company, but don't worry. I know you're probably not interested in joining a business or building a business. I just want you to support me by trying out the product. Would you be interested in trying the product for 30 days? And just let me know what you think. At the end of 30 days, if it's not a fit for you, no hard feelings. Just give me your feedback, and if you like it, I would love it if you supported me and just became a customer of the product. That's a simple way for you to just kind of get started if you're brand new. Think about, how can I take these big commitments and break them down into smaller, little bitty steps that lead up to the bigger commitment that I want them to eventually make?
That's great advice. So out of the 1,000 people, did anyone want to join your business? And if so, how did you approach that?
Yeah.
You had a small entry with $30 product, and they're trying it out for themselves per month. How did you make that shift where you're like, hey, join my business?
Yeah. So a lot of them did in this particular business. And granted, for me in this particular business, the shift over to doing the business was a little bit easier. It was a more I shouldn't say easier. It was a more natural transition. Like, for example, if you're selling a weight loss product, it's not necessarily a natural transition to say, hey, you wanted to lose weight. Do you also want to make money from home? Now, do most people want to make some extra money? Yes, of course. So I'm not saying it's an impossible transition. It's not at all. If you get somebody who loves the product and you're like, look, Susie, you're losing weight on this product. Would you, no pressure, but would you be interested if I showed you step-by-step how to do it? Would you be interested in also making a few extra dollars from home by simply sharing this with other people the way I shared it with you? I mean, that's an easy way to take your product users and very nonchalantly, very no high pressure tactic wise, just be able to ask them, would you be interested if I showed you step by step how to do it? If they say no, you say, hey, no problem. All you do, guys, a large part of the success, what a lot of people don't realize, especially in network marketing, is this business is a lot more about culture and community and just kind of keeping people around the fire, keeping them kind of around the community. Not everybody is going to catch on fire at the exact same time. Some people, it's just going to kind of kindle and, spark and die away. And other people catch on fire right away and then they die out immediately. And other people catch on fire and they stay on fire. You just kind of never know when somebody's going to catch on fire. And so a large part of it is not like, hey, you didn't want to do the business today, so I'm writing you off forever. It's, hey, it's not a fit for you today. That's totally fine. I appreciate you being a customer. Let me know what I can do to support you as a customer. And you just kind of keep them in the community. You keep them around. And as they start seeing other people just like them creating success, for a lot of them, that desire to also do the business will ignite. Now, for me, that happened a little bit more naturally because the product I was selling was geared towards helping existing business owners. Mm-hmm. It was a software product that helped people build websites and stuff for their small business. And because they were already building businesses, a lot of them were entrepreneurial minded and wanted to have more streams of income. And so a lot of them were like, hey, how can I promote this thing? And so I didn't push it real hard. It was, I don't even know the numbers of how many product users ended up promoting, but I know that was back in 2013. I know I still get weekly notifications of I haven't actively promoted that business or built it in 2 years. And I still get checks, not checks, but, digital deposits every week. I get notifications. Hey, you just got a deposit from the system into your account. So it works doing it that way. You just have to make sure that you've got the right processes in place.
Yeah. That's what I love about residual income. I love that phone ding that you've got a deposit.
Yep.
So a lot of people don't know what building their own brand is, or making themselves a brand. And that was one of the things that was the first step in the right direction for you in 2013. You're like, okay, I'm going to learn how to brand myself, and I'm going to learn out loud. So I'm going to share it with people. Can you tell me how you kind of parlayed who you were trying to attract and how your messaging went? So it is using attraction marketing. You're like, hey, I know, I want to sell this $30 recurring thing on the back end of it eventually, and I'm hoping to attract 1,000 people in a year to do it. So how did you pair what your brand would be to who you wanted to attract?
Sure. Good question. So it sounds like part of what you're asking here is how did I select who I was going to target? How did I select my audience? Is that kind of what you're asking?
Yeah, who you wanted to help.
Yeah, so there's two kind of ways you have to look at this, depending on if you already have a product that you're wanting to sell and you've already got a business and you're just trying to find more people for that existing business, then obviously you're going to have to go about that a little bit differently than if you, like, for example, if you just came in brand new today and said, I'd like to start making money online. I don't have a product. I don't have anything. I'm starting at ground zero. The first thing I would probably tell that person to do is to ask themselves three questions, right? I would say, first of all, who is it? What would I be excited to talk about every day? What would I be excited to get up and make content about? If I'm going to create a video or I'm going to interview people like what you're doing, or I'm going to put out a YouTube video or a blog or whatever, what would I be excited about? Number two, how large is the audience that would be attracted to that message, right? I mean, if I'm talking about, I don't know, how to, I don't know how soccer moms can how soccer moms in Detroit, Michigan can save more time on their route to soccer games. It's going to be a much smaller audience. I'm talking about one specific city of just moms who love, taking their kids to soccer games, as opposed to a much larger audience of, all right, I'm targeting people who are interested in losing weight. But at the same time, I didn't want to just say, like, for example, I could have said, I'm going to target everybody who wants to make money, make more money. Well, that's like a ton of people. And so for me, I went and I got a little bit more niche down. So the three questions, I digress. The three questions are, number one, how large is the audience large enough to support my goals, right? Number two, how passionate is this audience about the thing that I would be talking to them about every day, right? Could I talk about Cheerios every day? Is there a large audience of people who eat Cheerios? Yes, but if I'm talking about cereal, are there people like, God, I got to go check out a new YouTube video about what cereals to eat? No, it's just not a very passionate audience. That's not, so the three questions are, is the audience large enough? How passionate is that audience? And would I be excited enough every single day to get up and talk about whatever this topic is to attract those people to me? To me, those are the three things that you really have to ask yourself if you're starting out from scratch, right? Mm-hmm. If you already have a business, I would go and I'd ask myself those same three questions, but I would ask it from the standpoint of, is the audience that I'm targeting, this audience that's big and passionate, is it also an easy transition into my product, into what I'm offering? And I've taught, there's really like a couple of groups that you can target for if you have an existing product. And I believe that one of those groups that's worked well for me is targeting people who have a history of buying either that product or similar products in the past. Like people who buy weight loss products, they don't just buy one product and succeed. A lot of them fail at one product and then they go to another product and another. So a lot of times targeting people who've either bought other products or are researching other products right now is one group. Another group of people would be people, and this is where I've probably made most of my money and attracted most of the people to me, is targeting people who have a problem that my product or opportunity could solve. So if so for example, I was selling a product that could help people make more sales and attract more leads. I knew that home business owners who were frustrated with talking to their friends and family, I could solve that problem by showing them how to use this tool or this software. So I targeted, small home business owners, large group of people, very passionate about what they were doing. I was passionate about it because I love business and entrepreneurship, so that fit the bill for me. And then I talked to them about their problems, and I said, here's how this particular tool or this resource could solve this problem for you. And that was one of the best ways that really I was able to attract the right people to me. Did that answer the question? Did I answer the right one?
Yeah, totally. I think it breaks down the first three steps of really determining what do you want to talk about that long,
Yeah.
and just kind of really before you put your messaging out there and build this whole thing as your brand. And it's not to say that it starts off as one thing and you're pigeonholed to only talking about that thing, but it is good to have an idea of who you want to draw into you, what the end result is for them,
Yeah.
so you
Well,
can provide a solution.
yeah, I think what you just said about saying, you're not pigeonholed is a great point, because I see some people that they overthink the whole, like, who should my audience be kind of thing. And they just, guys, that if just pick something. I mean, think about, because a lot of people think, well, if I pick this group, then I'm alienating this group and they won't join me. Well, guys, think about Facebook. Who's on Facebook today? Like everybody. But how did Mark Zuckerberg, how did they start Facebook? It was for college kids, right? It was for Ivy League schools only. So talk about alienating a large part of the population. And then eventually that target, as it grew with his, this is my passionate audience that's really gonna see the vision of what this thing is. As that group latched onto the idea, it started to grow out to more colleges. And then it went outside of the college world, and now everybody's on Facebook, right? So start with a small enough audience and just understand, when you're throwing a dart at a dartboard, you get the most points if you hit the bullseye. For Mark Zuckerberg, his bullseye when he started Facebook was college kids at Ivy League schools. But if you throw the dart and it slightly lands off the dartboard, you still get points for the other rings, right? And so there are other rings outside of that dartboard. Know where you're aiming and know that it's okay if you hit a ring outside, because those can still be worth points to your business as well.
I agree with that completely. And I had my own experience with that when I was first starting entrepreneurship, maybe like 6 years ago. I listened to all the gurus. I went to this like really high-end mastermind, and, fitness publisher was there, and they really railed on my brand, saying like, oh, your message is watered down because it's to men and women. I'm like, I can transform both. And they're like, no, you can't do that. You have to pick, And what was funny is I came home kind of dejected from that, like, oh no, like my messaging is off and stuff like that. Well, I kind of kept it out there of like, it could be for both. I grew up as a tomboy, lifting weights and stuff like that. And organically, half of the people that were subscribing into my list were men, and I would have missed out on some of the best transformations, so don't, listen to people that are, if your heart and your brand is passionate about helping, both genders or whoever it is that you want to help, don't listen to people that are kind of like squashing what you want to do, because it may be your thing, and your message may resonate with multiple different people. Yeah. So you really help people develop unlimited leads and sales, and that is a struggle for network marketers, especially I think introverted people, because extroverts can go on any Uber ride and strike it up with them, or any lunch, and introverts are like, oh, I don't want to talk to the neighbor on the plane, so
Right.
The online method is amazing at, it kind of allows you to use your voice in a different way through blogging content, through video content, and that type of thing. So can you just tell me, what are some of the ways that you share with people on getting unlimited leads?
Well, I think it all starts with picking an audience of people that you want to help, right? That you'd be excited to get up every day and talk to. Then step 2 is pick a channel that you are comfortable getting your message out there on, right? It could be Facebook. You could do it with just posting text posts on, for example, let's say that you were super passionate about cooking, right? You could post new recipe ideas, I guess, on your Facebook page. You could post videos of you, baking new cakes and so forth, right? Would that attract me? No, but you're not trying to attract me. You're trying to attract the kind of people who are passionate about baking and want to buy, baking tutorials or baking products or whatever, right? So step 1, you pick your audience and what you're passionate about. Step 2, pick a a medium for how you want to deliver your content, right? It could be YouTube videos, it could be Facebook Lives, it could be a podcast, it could be a blog. I mean, there's so many different ways that you could potentially do it, but you just have to pick what's right for you and for your personality. And I would also say pick what's right for maybe your content, right? So, and then what you have to do is you have to put out valuable content that either solves the problems of your market or answers their questions. That's the best place to start. You ask yourself, what are the biggest questions that my perfect customers have? And how could I put some content out there on my medium, whatever my marketing media is? How can I put some valuable content out there that would help them solve their problems or help them answer their questions? And for different businesses, sometimes I prefer video. Most of the time, it's maybe not always a good fit, depending on, if somebody is, let's face it, not everybody is super comfortable in front of the camera. And I believe that it can be learned. I believe that the longer you do something, the better you get at it. But I also understand that there are some people that they have such insecurities that they'll just never, like I'll just hate it every day of my life and I'll never do it. Okay, we'll start with something else. Start with something where maybe you're doing written content, or maybe you're interviewing people like Lisa, where she's doing very little of the talking here, but it's a great way to kind of get introduced to being on camera and letting somebody else, provide a bunch of the content. All right, I digress. So I'll give an example. Like in my photography business, I have a blog. And for that business, having me on video is not necessarily as important as being able to demonstrate my photography skills. So in that case, a blog the media fits a bit better with the type of content that I would be creating for that audience. Because for example, one of my blog posts, we shoot a lot of high school senior portraits. It's very popular here in the Midwest. And I have a blog post that's titled something to the effect of 12 ways to have the most unique high school senior portraits in your high school. And I give a bunch of tips and I show examples from my photography of each one. So I say incorporate your hobbies. And then I show some examples of photos that we've taken of high school seniors, a girl with her horse. And I show a picture of a kid with his golf uniform on. And then I give tip number 2 is use great lighting techniques. And then I show some really amazing lighting where they look at it and they go, wow, I could never learn how to do that. I might as well just hire him. Right. And so because I need to show those pictures and I need for them to be able to glance through, the blog is the better media choice for that business. But in this business where I'm looking to get people to either join a business with me or buy a product from me, I feel like video is a bit better medium for me to get my message out there, because people really start to feel like they know me, like they trust me, like, oh, I like this guy. And here's kind of a hidden benefit of video. It gives you kind of that celebrity factor. People don't, what's interesting, they did a study a while back. I don't know what the study was, so I could be misquoting this completely, but I believe I had heard that there was a study done where people just, if they had seen someone on video, that their brains instantly, even if it was their first time seeing them on a video camera and it was just on like a YouTube channel that they uploaded, there was something in their brains that automatically associated that person with a level of celebrity. And celebrities have a certain level of authority where a celebrity can simply say, I recommend you try this. And they go, well, so-and-so, Dr. Oz recommended it, so I'll buy it. Dr. Oz is an authority, I'll buy it because he recommended it. And so because I'm trying to build a level of authority and build a level of likability, I choose video. But it's really all about picking the right audience, picking the medium for how you're going to get that message out there, and then just creating valuable content. And if you don't know what to talk about, start with the things I talked about earlier. Number 1, ask yourself, what are the biggest problems and questions my audience has? Create topics around that. And then also utilize the study, share, suggest methods that I gave you, where you basically go to the publications that, like if I were going to go into a market that I know nothing about, like today, let's say that I went into I don't know, cooking, right? I gave that earlier. I really don't know anything about cooking, but if I was going to go into that market, what I would do is I would say, where are people who love cooking? Where are they hanging out? What magazines are they reading? What publications are they following? What blogs are they visiting? And I would go visit those same blogs. I would join those same forums, and I would start reading and interacting, and I would take the things that I was learning or the questions people were asking in there, and I would utilize that to create content on my own marketing channel to attract that audience to me.
I think you make some good points in that entire answer. And I think the first thing I want to touch on is video is so powerful. I'm introverted and able to get past that to do these things, but I think it gives people your eye contact and they get to see your face and your expressions, and you're not going to be on a 10-minute video on YouTube versus a 50-minute video, and posting content out there and be this dishonest like car salesman about stuff. It's just you're trying to give value in that time, and people are going to be able to kind of tell your demeanor, and I think it immediately builds that know, like, and trust factor, even if they only watch one video. And then positioning as far as authority goes, I think it is important to mention most new network marketers or even affiliate marketers aren't used to giving a call to action. And that's like the next step that you want them to do. So you're giving this valuable content, and it's being okay with saying, the next step I want you to do is, or like you said, this subtlety that you had was like, no, if you like what I'm talking about today, the next step for you to do is this. And
right.
So you mostly do capture your leads on email marketing. The 1,000 people that you signed up initially that year were probably on your email list, right?
Yeah, primarily. I mean, for me, it was all about how can I get the people off of Facebook or off of YouTube and onto my email list, because I don't own Facebook. They could shut my page down at any time. I don't own YouTube. They could shut my YouTube channel down anytime. But if I can get those people on an email list that I own and control, now I've got a lot more power. And luckily, things have evolved quite a bit. I won't go into all of this now, but even if, like, I personally give a call to action in every one of my own personal content videos that I create, where I tell people, here's the next step I would suggest that you take. But even if you don't, the power of retargeting now with if you learn how to use an ad platform like Facebook or AdWords, you could create it. For example, you could create a YouTube channel where you just put up 3 videos a week or something talking about valuable content, and YouTube allows you to say, anybody who's watched these 3 videos in the last 30 days, I now want them, when they're scrolling around and they're just watching Taylor Swift videos or they're watching cat videos or whatever, I now want to put a message in front of them that says, hey, I know you're getting ready to watch this Taylor Swift video, but I wanted to show you real quickly this process that I've been doing. And then you can give a call to action in an ad where you follow those people around the internet. That's called remarketing or retargeting. And that was not something that was super available that I understood how to do back in 2013, but it is very simple to do today. And I tell people, think of it kind of like, if I were a vacuum salesman and I went to a party and I just started talking to people about vacuums at a party, it'd be a little weird. Like, they'd be like, dude, we're at a party. Like, just hang out, have fun. Let's get to know each other, right? But if I went to a party and I was just talking, and people were like, well, what do you do for a living? And I was like, oh, I sell vacuums. And they asked a few questions and I told them about it, but I didn't give them a call to action like, hey, buy the vacuum. What if, like, a week later I went to that person and I said, hey, we met at the party and you seemed a little bit interested. We were talking about vacuums. Now, if I said, hey, would you give me, 15 minutes to show you something? They're going to be much more receptive to that message because, number one, I didn't pitch them on it on day one. And number two, because they already know me, they like me, they trust me. So I'm going to have a bit more ability to get my foot in the door. That's really kind of what a good retargeting strategy can do for you. Let's say you just build a YouTube channel with a ton of great content, and then you just start following those people around. It's kind of like the vacuum salesman, they're now going, oh, I recognize that guy. I was on his page the other day. I like him. As opposed to everybody else who's marketing, hey, I know we're total strangers, but come buy my thing. That doesn't go over very well.
Yeah, I love that because it allows you to develop that first interaction that they've clicked on your video. Um, and and big brands use this. That's why your favorite shoes that you just looked at Nordstrom are stalking you on the internet. It's
Yeah,
because
yeah,
of retargeting.
yeah,
They're like, I'm just gonna it's the carrot,
yeah,
it's in front of your face. So you can be the carrot, just based on, you don't even have to have a lot of content. Somebody has to see just one, and you have this little tracking pixel, and you can stalk them.
yeah.
Awesome. Well, I think that you've given so much value today in the knowledge that you've developed, both within the times that weren't as profitable for you and the times that are. You are the success story that everyone is hoping to have. So it's out there, it's available, and we've appreciated you sharing with us.
Absolutely. It was my pleasure, and I appreciate you having me on. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks.
You guys have a great day. Thanks.
Thank you so much for joining in for another episode today. I have a free download for you. Thank you so much for joining in on another episode with us today. Thank you so much for joining in on another episode today. I have actually a freebie for you, Attract Prospects to You. It's a free ebook that kind of describes how to use something like Facebook and an email marketing system like we were talking about on this episode, and getting unlimited leads headed to you. So if you want that, you can either click the link below if you're watching this on YouTube. If not, then you can go to the website, themillionairenetworkmarketer.com, and it's right on there for you, the ebook, Attract Prospects to You. I'll see you next time.